Hey, morning folks, Jamain here, hope you're well. Today I'm gonna do a video for the dads. A few tips, just for those dads who are in the middle of adjusting to new baby being on the scene. So, tip number one, time. One thing I didn't really realise beforehand is just how important it is to have lots and lots of time available post new baby being around, and frankly, even for weeks, and in some cases months, after new baby being on the scene. I'll just be suggesting careful making too many plans with the boys, careful having too many commitments after work. Those pockets of time I found them really important, because it was just time for myself. It was time to connect with my son, so time for you to connect with your child, and time to reconnect with my wife. And that is one of the biggest strains that I think you can quite easily see, is just how little couple time you have with your partner, and just how important it is to actually really fight for that time, quite frankly. You were there as a couple first, and it's really important to push and get that time together. So tip number 2 is a practical one about laundry. Of all the things, all the advice that I was given before Theo came along, the one thing that I wish I was really told is just how much laundry you will accumulate. It's unbelievable. And it's not just what will be associated with the baby, but of course when you and your partner are there, you're feeding, you're bathing them, you're cleaning them, you will find yourself covered in all kinds of stuff. And so your washing machine will be on all the time. So it's really important, actually, just to make sure you're mindful of that and can take some steps to help. So firstly, everything you're buying, if you're buying any clothes for yourself, for example, make sure it can be washed and tumble dried. There's just a real practicality which I strongly advocate, which is everything can go in the machine. The same thing is true for my wife, and so all our fancy clothes have been kind of wrapped up a little bit and are not necessarily going to make their way back out for a little while. The second thing, if you're in a position to do it, is have a separate washer and dryer. We'd also always previously had a combination, and essentially it was on non-stop. And the minute we managed to get these huge washers and dryers, things have actually been made a lot easier. And it sounds really silly, but the amount of laundry you get can be quite it can be quite a headache, particularly if you've got a lot of work that you're doing to also raise a child. So tip number 3 is really about making sure your partner has got enough time for themselves, just to do the basic things that make them feel human. And in my wife's case, it just means being able to have a shower, wash her hair, and give herself a pamper without needing to be interrupted. Doesn't sound like too much, but in reality, it probably took us a good couple of months until we really realised how important it is to give her an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be, where I'm not pestering her, and where Theo doesn't need her attention. So to the extent that you can, if you're a sports fan, you're sitting down watching TV, take the kid. It's great time together, and it's time that you may not realise your partner needs. Or if you're watching a movie, take your child, have that time together. They'll be really happy just sitting there with you. Theo loves just holding my hand sometimes, or on his playmat, and it's fantastic time where you can actually multitask if you want. If you're more inclined to do an activity with the child, read with them, sing with them. We've got a series of the Gruffalo books and the Thomas the Tank Engine books, so we sit down, we take a nice read together, and for some unknown reason Theo seems to like my singing voice as well. So it's really small, kind of potentially silly stuff, but it's great bonding time, and it's time again that you'll never ever get back. So really highly recommend you take it, and the benefit for your partner is going to be huge. because that time they just have to sit down, feel like themselves again. It all really helps them recover. So the final and most important thing actually for the dad is to support your partner's recovery. And I think we often hear about things like postnatal depression, and we know that it's a huge job that our partner's undertaking, actually bringing a child into the world, and there's a huge recovery that sits alongside it. And it is really critical to have an appreciation of that, and if you're comfortable doing it, to have a discussion around how your partner is feeling, and crucially let them know that you're there for them, you support them, and the most important thing is communication together. There is no hard and fast rule, obviously, about how anybody reacts, and frankly we've all maybe heard of examples where some people think they've recovered really well and actually it just takes a little bit longer, and that's absolutely fine. Be okay having the discussion, be okay communicating, and most importantly, you're there to serve your partner as they recover. You know, there is no doubt that it is most important that your partner's got a good, safe environment to have discussions about how they're feeling and supporting their recovery. It really is the case of dialing down any thoughts you have, dialing down any needs that you may believe you have, and actually being at service of this incredible person who's given you the greatest gift that you could ever imagine. So those are my tips to the dads. It's from one dad to another. I wish you all the very best on this journey. It is unbelievable. I hope you're going to love it, and I hope this video just gives some useful practical tips on how to help your adjustment. If you've liked what you've heard or not liked it, or if you've got any questions or comments, please do send them in. And if you think this video would help anybody else, please do share it. All right, thanks. Have a good day. Bye. Hey folks, we hope you've enjoyed this video and took some really great ideas to help you on your journey through life.
We'd really love to hear from you, so leave us a comment, and if you want to continue on the journey with us, then subscribe to our channel.